This man is about to compete in one of the biggest matches of his life for the 10 pounds of gold against NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Thom Latimer. We are talking to the Thrillbilly himself, Silas Mason. Silas, how are you today?
You said one of the biggest matches of my life, brother. It's one of the biggest matches in the history of the business. It's one of the biggest matches in everyone's lives because all of our lives are leading to this moment. August 16th, NWA 77 in Long Island, Daddy.
My man, August 16th, Long Island, New York, at the Paramount in Huntington, 77th anniversary of the NWA. You are about to step into the lineage of Lou Thesz, Ric Flair, Sting. We're talking Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes. The list goes on and on. So there's got to be a little bit of legacy pressure and also making your own mark as the new world's heavyweight champion.
Well, they say that the dead generations weigh like a nightmare on the brain of all living things. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't understand the historical significance of that title. But here's what people don't understand, right? The Thrillbilly is like the sun. And whenever I'm shining, it's going forward. You see what I'm saying? Into the future of the business, where the business is going, where the NWA has been, but will go. And so they're going to have to deal with the fact that they're living in my shadow because this is a whole new age. This is the internet age, pal. A lot of kids nowadays have never heard of these guys. A lot of the kids, not to say that they, you know, aren't worthy of looking up and that people should. But what I'm saying is now, as the NWA, future NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, I'm like Martin Luther with the printing press, pal. I'm about to burn this whole country down, baby.
I'm digging it. Listen, from Crockett to Corrigan, we are keeping it in theme and continuing the legacy of the NWA. There were some dark days for a little while, but the resurgence, especially under Billy, has just blown up. That Roku deal, the 24-hour channel. Here we are going to New York, which was never really an NWA territory. That was more of a Northeast thing after the territory split with WWWF. But here we are. It's kind of like a homecoming with the resurgence of the NWA.
New York City has always been the heart and soul of, DC is the capital, but New York's what everybody thinks about. It's one of the cities. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to figure out how long that island really is when the NWA, with all of our history, with all of our legacy, with all of our tradition, is bringing it to some place like these Yankees ain't never seen wrestling. You know what I'm saying? They're used to all these bingo hall guys busting light tubes over each other's heads. But let's see how they react when two dudes don't need light tubes to be hardcore.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of death matches. I mean, they have their place. I'm just not the
No
audience
one
for
ever
it.
dies.
You know.
False advertising. There used to be laws against that in this country.
Well, as Bill Eadie, Demolition Axe used to say, I'm never going to say I'm going to kill you because it doesn't fulfill you, but I'm going to hurt you real bad. And it looks like you're there to put a hurt on Thom.
That's exactly why would I ever want to kill Thom Latimer? I want him to live with the shame of knowing that I'm better than him. You know what I'm saying? I've been out here training, running half a marathon every other day just to get ready because what you do is you train harder than what the match is going to be. I expect this to be a war. I expect to go to war. And this ain't going to be one of those things where I'm the one who's bled out white by the end of it. Thom Latimer might be very tan, but he's going to look pale as a ghost when I'm done with him.
I'm digging it, man. It's going to be an exciting night, on the 16th, especially as everything goes down. There's the world television title that's on the line, the women's world title on the line, or women's world title and television title. Like this is a full-on stacked card. When you're the main event, how difficult is it not to peek behind the curtain and see what's going on in the undercard? Because some of these guys are who you're going to have to defend the title against if you do beat Thom Latimer. And I have to say if, because, I got to keep up appearances that Tom's got a chance.
I'll allow you saying if because anything could happen. Heck, the entire island could sink into the sea for all we know from now until then, and they may push it back. You know what I'm saying? Anything could happen, so I'm not going to hold the if against you, but it's a win kind of deal. And as for everything else on the card, man, not only do you have the pressure of stepping in there with the world's heavyweight champion, but it's the very end of the night. Everybody has seen some of the most exciting matches, some of the hardest hitting people, but they have paid to see the main event. You know, a lot of people put that pressure on themselves. I live with that pressure, man. I'm totally fine with it. I take it on me every single day because I train like it's going to be the last day my heart's pumping on this earth. And I'm ready for that pressure because pressure creates diamonds, my friend.
And here we are with 10 pounds of gold and all the gems and rubies that are surrounding it. You're the diamond in the rough at this point.
That's what I'm saying. I'm basically going to be like the Emerald King.
I
You know,
dig
I'm going
it.
to be one of those guys like a ruby miner. I'm going to be one of those robber barons from back in the day.
I'm loving it, man.
Mr. Moneybags. I'm going to have to get me a top hat walking around New York City like I'm John D. Rockefeller.
Well, that's a legacy to live up to, especially because his biggest statement was when he was the richest man alive. They said, how much is too much, and he said just one more dollar.
Exact, not enough.
Yeah. And it's never
That's the
enough to
answer.
just still be like to win the title is one thing, to retain the title is something completely different.
Exactly. And that's the thing. The happiest I know that I will ever be in my life is the moment before that referee's hand hits three. Because after that, it's getting back to work.
Yeah. As soon as what does like a victory celebration in winning the NWA's world title look like? I mean, we've seen so much with the industry itself and how it's changed over the years, but the NWA still at its core is a wrestling promotion. We're there to watch some of the best matches we possibly can that are going to be televised, and it's going to be on Roku, which is even better for those of us that can't be on the East Coast and especially in the tri-state area to make it there live. So, what has been missing in professional wrestling and what are we excited to see now with the NWA?
Well, I think what's really been missing in professional wrestling is the genuineness of it. Like you said, we're not sitting out here talking about a celebration. If I win the championship, I'm going to go exactly straight to my hotel and I'll let everybody else celebrate for me. I'll let everyone down here in Blount County because, like I said, we got to get back to work. In the NWA, what we sell to the people and what you can see for free every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on the Roku channel is real, genuine wrestling. That's what I'm talking about. A couple of guys, we don't need the pyrotechnics. We don't need the light tubes. All you need to do is turn it on and witness the action. That's what the NWA is bringing back, and that's why we're climbing up from the top. Billy Corgan had it in his head what he wanted to do, and on the peaks and the valleys, you know how it's been since he's bought the NWA,
Yep.
but he's always at the end of it came out better. No matter a lot of people think you ain't going to get hit in a fight, brother. I know Thom Latimer can hit hard. I've wrestled the brother before. Didn't get to a conclusive decision, but I know how hard he hits. The thing is, I hit harder. And that's what it's about, is not stopping when you get hit.
Right. What happens, for example, again, and if we don't get a conclusive result in you becoming the world heavyweight champion, do we end up in a cage match? Do we end up in a dog collar match? Like I remember watching the dog collar match between Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine, back in the day in the 80s and watching it on repeat and seeing how bloody that went. What does it look like if we don't get the definitive answer? Like what's the next step?
Listen here, brother, and I'm going to tell you this right now. There will be a winner. All right? August 16th, there is going to be a winner, and it's going to be the Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Thom Latimer doesn't get to run away like he did last time. If you go back and you watch the tape, as soon as I get out of the ring, he calls out, he's been talking trash on the Southern Six. You can't really understand what he says half the time because of that British accent. But he's sitting there and he's bad talking my boys and he calls them out. What does he think's going to happen? He's going to get his ass jumped. So if he thinks he's going to have any of his friends, whether they be from overseas, whether they be from England, whether they be from Saipan, the Southern Six has got my back, and we're going to make sure that the last thing everyone sees on that television screen is the Thrillbilly Silas Mason holding up the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, and that's the gospel truth.
Well, we are celebrating NWA 77, but we're fast approaching the 250th anniversary of the United States. So Britain versus America yet again makes perfect sense right now.
And that's the thing. Everybody wants to bite off the Thrillbillies style, and Thom Latimer's coming out here wearing an American flag. The brother ain't from America. He comes in here, and I might as well throw him in the harbor after this match. You know what I'm saying? And not that I have anything against people from America. I have a thing against people who lie. And Thom Latimer has always been a liar. He wants to come in here and he wants to act like he's exactly like the rest of us, but he is not like us. He's a phony, he's a fraud, and I'm going to prove it at 77.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you bring home the world's heavyweight championship, that 10 pounds of gold, back to the United States, making it an official American title again, and outshining everybody that you're coming up against, and especially the future competition.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hogan's dead. Get over it. I'm going to be the real American champion that everyone needs to worship from now on.
I don't know how we top that statement. Thrillbilly Silas Mason, August 16th, NWA 77, the Paramount in Huntington, New York, NWALiveEvents.com. Where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you and cheer you on as our future world's heavyweight champion?
You know, Silas Mason's business has always been hurting people, and right now business is a booming. So you can find me at Thrillbilly TCB on all the sundry social media applications, and that TCB stands for taking care of business.
The Thrillbilly himself, Silas Mason, thank you so much. Again, future world's heavyweight champion. If we go by anything, he's shown us so far. Thank you so much, Silas. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Tune in and see you there.